21st,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to go back for review at the doctor's.
Okay.
So we leave, everybody else is gone. My buddy's traveling back to Nairobi at that time.
Yeah.
So we leave her with the house help. Us guys have gone to the hospital. Me, I'm sitting there waiting. So I didn't have my phone with me, so my wife had a phone, and she was like, our neighbor just called me. There's something that's happened. What's happened? I'm like, our daughter is in the hospital. What happened? She couldn't explain. I jump in the car, and she's the one who drove me to the hospital.
Yeah.
I drove that car back home to the hospital, only to get there to be told that our daughter had drowned and died at the pool. I get to the hospital and she's just lying there calm, lifeless. I was like, God, what do you want, man? God, what do you want from me? As in, I'm already sick, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that enough? What do you want from me? That was just, my heart was in pain.
Yeah.
My heart was in pain. The one thing I asked God was, please, God, take this pain away.
Yeah.
As in, of so many things, I just want one thing right now. Just take this pain away, because this pain will make me hate you, will make me just become not so good. I prayed that prayer, and I had my people around me, and because even them, they couldn't make sense of what is going on.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what's happening? You mentioned Job.
Yeah.
That's always been my story in my life, you know. And I'm like, isn't it enough?
Yeah.
Whatever lesson you're trying to teach me or someone else, there's no other person to be used as an object. Scripture says he uses, he will not give you something that you cannot handle. And I was like, God, I don't know how to navigate this one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know how you see me this strong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's not making sense to me. Why take her away? Why?
Yeah.
So the next thing is we are planning a funeral and every other thing, and I'm super sick and still going through treatment. And I would say her being taken away from us really shook us. But one thing that I would say is my biggest prayer was that the Lord will use her to bring people to himself. And during the service, I can tell you, I saw God. Why? The church was full. This is a child who's passed on.
Yeah.
A whole church is full of 1,000 people. Where did they come from? This child is going to be buried, and there's like a whole motorcade of police chase cars and everything, the county cars and everything, that people around the whole city of Mombasa thought this is a very important person. How all those things came together, I don't know.
Yeah.
But one thing I sit down and say, God used it for his glory.
Yeah.
Now I say that, but then I couldn't.
Yeah.
But now it makes sense. God gave her life for that time and for those moments.
Yeah.
And one thing I'd say is that death and my sickness, because I was on steroids, I was a different human being, man.
Yeah.
Because they messed me up. But I thank God because God helped my wife to understand who I was. But the truth is, we were walking separate ways. Because she was grieving on her own, I was on my own. I was hurting, I was high on this medication and every other thing. I was not myself. I could not even rationalize things. That to date, there's people who tell me, my body's joke and go like, oh, tupatia tabu sana. So that loss, really, losing a child is crazy.
Yeah. Changes you.
It's different. I lost a wife.
Yeah.
But losing a child, who you have, like Willis was saying, when you see them, you see, you have aspirations, desires, dreams about what you will do for them and what you desire for them.
Yeah.
then they're just swept away.
Yeah.
So for me,
you've said it rightly that losing a child is it's different, and I know this is a conversation for men, but I can also say as a mother, having lost a father, losing a child is different. It's different. I think it's that unnaturalness of it, that it's not meant to be like that. It's not the right order of things. O'Neill, you've brought out an issue of male infertility, which is not talked about. There's so much shame surrounding it. And yet we know that when there's a struggle, when a couple has a struggle, there's a 50-50% chance that it's either the man or the woman. But we have always made it look like, first of all, it's many times just blamed on the woman. And then in the cases where it's the man has an issue, like it was in your case, it's such a taboo. It's like it's so shameful. And I'm so thankful to you for speaking out, because there are men listening who realize that there's nothing to be ashamed of, because you did not choose to have an issue in your body. In the same way your body has been fighting cancer and fighting whatever, the issue of fertility is also an issue that our bodies fight, that is beyond our control, but we can get help where possible. Right?
And I would like to say something, when I was told about the way the situation is asked, so what happened? And the doctor said, you were actually born like that. And this is something, if it was discovered when you were younger, it would have been, the surgery would have corrected
earlier.
But I live in the east of Africa. Not just any east of Africa. Kenya, to be precise.
No one is detecting it
Nobody
early.
knows anything and nobody cares.
You find out when it's so advanced.
So advanced. And that's and it's not just that. So many different things. We find out when it's too late.
So
even for me, I was told we could do surgery, but medication might reverse it. But when I got cancer, and before chemo, the doctor said, forget about having children. Because the moment you go through chemo, they put poison in your system. And if I'm to have any natural born babies right now, they would have problems for the rest of their lives. So that door is closed. And I said, it will not be fair for me to want to have a child of my own that will live their life in a struggle.
Right. Wow. That's a heavy thing to say. And you also brought to the table the miracle of adoption. That also is not talked about enough. I feel, that there are families who decided we're going to open ourselves up to adopt a child. And that, when you describe that, you resonate with what Willis felt, what Omari felt when they realized they're going to be a father, that it's no different in that sense, the excitement, that love at first sight. She could have been carried by a different womb, probably have a different genetic whatever, but the fact that she's your child, you're her father, it's the same feeling that they have felt when Omari lost his children, when Willis had a miscarriage and lost baby Adana. When you lost baby Atana, that feeling, it's the same feeling. It's loss. It's the same heaviness, through and through. And then having to just navigate. First of all, I think one day we need to talk about having babies during COVID, being pregnant or carrying pregnant. And I think all of y'all were in that of having babies during the pandemic. Oh my goodness!
It was crazy.
Terrible,
It was crazy because you have to be in a bubble. So even sorry to jump the gun, but even just like now for me, and of course we'll talk about trying again and everything. But for me, of course, after child loss, and then you're trying again, and then everything just shuts down. Boom. Right, and then now, remember, I've been through to 3 months and lost. I've been to the end and then lost. So now there's definitely from month 1 to 9, I'm not okay. For me, for me, in my mind, the only time I'll say I have a baby is now when I can relieve the touching and somebody it's actually there's a response.
Yes.
There's a cry. There's a cooing. There's just something.
Yeah. Proof of life.
Yes, proof of life, basically. So it was so hard. And then again, in this, now when I was having a baby with Madam Ivy, it was so, because you see, she hasn't experienced that.
Yes.
It's her first time. And so I have to be happy. I don't want to be a wet blanket. I don't want to spoil it for her. In the meantime, she's also concerned about me. So it's a balance of, I want to be there for you. What do we do? How does that happen? And I mean, once I told her the story, and you know, she actually said, so the first thing we're going to do is that I'm not pushing.
Okay.
Just to give you peace of mind. Tutafanya elective.
Okay.
We'll do a CS.
C-section.
So that you can say that this is the day we're going.
Yes.
And there's no, you don't have to,
because guessing.
Yes, we're not guessing, and we're not going through all that thing again, because it was traumatic. And you battle every day with negative thoughts. Every day, because you're like, you see, it's, you know how they say it's the same God yesterday, today, and forever. So yes, I mended my relationship with God. But then I'm like, you know, basically it's still the same God.
Don't walk away.
And so I'm back here. Literally, I moved. He stayed there. Then I came back. Right. So this is the same person. So we're supposed to have the same solutions. And now give me a different outcome. So in my mind, I'm like, okay. And now though for real. You remember how last time I said, if something happens, we're done. Now this one. Now for real. Sasa sijui tutafanya aje. I mean, I know you have your way and you work things, whatever happens. But I was like, Mimi, I don't know, because it was so scary. The heartbeat was great. Again, to just feel it. I think both of us cried. And then now the after. And yani, I was, you know, if any sudden pain, you're like, okay, no, let's go, let's call. Let's call the guy now. Let's find out what's going on. Anything.
Slight change.
We are consulting, we are Googling. We're doing all these things. But to bring yourself back, I don't think I even realized how hard that is to, like they say, believe again, try again, and all these things. And for me, it was such a struggle. Like I would literally have to and take a break and remind myself and talk to myself and then appear. Sometimes I'll do it even in private and she doesn't know. Like I would go somewhere like, okay, you need to be happy, you need to be okay, you need to be this. All right, let's go and talk about this now. Or we are driving to the clinic and you have flashbacks. Like, hizi vitu tulifanya, hizi vitu tulifanya.
They trigger you.
Every single thing. And then the words are pretty much the same. Like, oh, this is the leg, this is the word. Like, hey.
I've been here.
Like, hizi vitu zote. Tunajua. And I think now for me, in the larger story of things, God made it different for me, because now this time he was a boy. I remember when they passed the scan through the area. And I was like, whoa, is that what I think it is?
There's no guessing.
There was no guessing here. So now I was like, okay, so that's different. Because again, if it would have been a girl, I don't know. It would have messed me up some more. And so for me, I was just like, I remember I was talking to you about it. We were sharing a lot with Omari. And I was like, bro, man, I don't know. I don't know if I can do this.
We used to sit in the car and just imagine. Can we go again through this again?
Imagine.
And one thing, Kambua, we always told you have to be strong for the wife. I think it's safe to say, men, we need to understand you can never be strong for anyone. Everybody, you're just a different human being. There's nothing like being strong for anyone. And the problem is the society just expects you to be strong, especially for your wife. And the problem with that is, I'm glad that to some level, like we had what we had. I wished anyway, I can't do anything. I mean, at the end of the day, it's Christ who can do anything for anyone. Because I can't imagine there's somebody somewhere who's now holding all that in. You imagine?
By themselves.
Just imagine holding all that inside and not be able to react or to share.
Yeah.
And it's because
It's
society
very
has
hard.
told us, you know, certain things. Growing up, you're being told you need to be a man.
Yeah.
You need to be strong
Yeah.
for who. But the question is, if you're being strong for somebody else, who's being strong for you?
That's
You don't
the
even know how to be
question.
strong for yourself in the
Who's being
first place.
strong
Yeah.
for
You
you?
know, and then, you know, breaking down, just there's a difference between just being emotionally sober
Yes.
and being strong. You know, being strong, strength is muscle, but emotional strength is something else. Where I'm hurting inside, I've lost a child,
Yeah.
you're telling me not to cry. What are you telling me?
Exactly.
Because I've seen people go like, no, don't cry, be
Yeah,
strong.
man.
What are you telling me, man? That doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't.
Let me cry it out, because why did God put the tears in me?
Yeah.
Why did God give us tears if we cannot cry them?
Yeah.
They're there for us to use them.
Yeah.
So let's cry. Let's get it out.
Get it out.
And I would say I am here today because I cried a lot, man. And I'm not ashamed to say that. And I would say to any man who's out there watching this, please don't be afraid to cry.
Yeah.
What I would say is find a private place.
Yeah.
Find your man. A safe space. Find your man. Cry with them.
But I think I like what you said about that. I have an interesting view though, and you just mentioned this is when I've realized, because that is also kind of the, what do you call it? How do you call it when you're shaping somebody's? Well, we just call it that.
Yeah.
I think we've been shaped that way.
Yeah.
We've been groomed that way.
Yeah.
You
Socialized
see,
that way.
the way if we're in a room somewhere and Kambua starts crying
Yeah.
there, then not every dude first of all will be like, hey,
Yeah.
she's crying. Let's or somebody find out what's going
What's
on.
going
over there.
on.
And even her other, if she has around her girlfriends, it's okay
Yeah.
for public cry. But you see, for men, it's because it's not accepted. We want to go to
It's a
a
private
private place, and it's okay because, like I said, I also did that sometimes. But I remember for me when I went back, we were doing it was during COVID, and so the office had organized for us to get the vaccines at Nairobi Hospital. So I went back to Nairobi Hospital, and then we were like, you know how casual, like, hey, unasikia njaa? And I remember it was me and Patrick Igunza. So we went to the bench.
Yes.
And we sat on that bench, and the same bench, and then I went and ordered, then I came and sat down, and immediately I literally, when I sat on that bench like this,
Yeah. The waterworks.
I couldn't control. I broke down so.
What?
Yeah.
And he was like,
Yeah.
no, it wasn't like
in there for a while.
Yes.
And it was just waiting for the trigger.
And you know, for me, the only difference was time of day, because that time it was at night, but the bench was the same. And then I guess like, you know, the sound smells.
Yeah.
And I felt everything, including the way I felt toward God at the time. Of course, I had grown by that time.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was like,
Took you back.
and then now the worst thing, one of the worst things that happened was now the person who would have probably understood this more is no longer with me, because we are going through separation and divorce.
Yeah.
So I feel like whipping up my phone and say, yo, I've just gone through this and I've been back here and I've been, and you know.
But you can't.
But I can't.
Yeah.
So again, I have to take that in.
Yes.
And I appreciate Gunza for that time, because he was, you know, because even the you know, everybody knows I'm a bubbly, happy-go-lucky guy. So even the people over at Java were like, what has happened? And then immediately I heard them say, oh, I think I'm a kumbuka.
Yeah.
But that time I was like,
Yeah.
and Igunza was just holding on to me. It's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Just let it all out.
Yeah.
It's okay. Everything's going to be okay. Because he didn't even ask me what's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew the story, but he didn't ask me how come, he just knew that, this dude needs me.
Yeah.
And he's there. So sometimes
Sometimes you don't have the time to let me go
separate. Let me go to a place.
Yeah. When it comes, it comes.
It comes, and I think it's better if it comes there. I mean, it depends. I mean, you could be maybe in front of your children and see, and they would wonder what's up, and maybe you wanna. I don't know. I mean, but I've learned even with my son sometimes now, and when people are emotional and there's crying and waterworks, he'll actually come and ask you, Nini.
Yeah.
You know, you try to explain to him.
Yes.
But I want to encourage men to ikikuja, wacha tu ikuje.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if we keep on hiding and suppressing.
We're still playing into that narrative.
It is.
Be strong.
Yes.
You can't cry.
Yes.
Be a man.
Exactly.
Whatever that means.
And it is very. It's hard for it to.
Be a man.
What
Who came up with that?
mean? Yeah.
Who came up with that thing? Be a man.
Who said a man who doesn't cry is a man?
Yeah.
Because the other interesting thing is, I like the way conversation is going, is from the Bible, right?
Yeah.
We were backstage talking about the Bible at the beginning.
Yeah.
So did that man weep? Because all through the Bible we see men weeping, crying.
Even Jesus wept.
David really mourned.
He lost the baby.
That's one of the things really touched me, the way he mourned.
Yeah.
So I just felt, you know what, if a man after God's own heart did this, why am I being strong? Who came up with this thing? Because your narrative of being a man is different from mine, you see. And here's the funny thing, in the whole Bible, there's no place that is written how a man should be. Think about it. So where is this thing coming from?
There's a whole book in the Bible called Lamentations.
Yes.
Kiswahili inasema kitabu kinaitwa cha maombolezi. Ni kitabu cha
maombolezi.
Lamentation, as in crying and weeping.
Yeah.
A whole book of crying and weeping. So why shouldn't we weep as men and cry and just go before God and say, this thing is hard, it's hurting me.
I'm broken.
Talk to God. If I can't, let me find Willis, man, bro, this thing is killing me. I sit there and cry.
Yeah.
And when a brother is crying like that, just like you said, Igunza, he didn't say much. Just sit there, be there.
He just held space for you.
That's what we need. And that's what women beat us with.
Yeah.
Most of us men are dying early than women because we don't talk about this thing. Women will talk about it, will cry about it.
And come up with a
solution.
3.5 point plan.
Yeah. If someone tells us go to therapy, we'll go to therapy.
Right.
Like we're quick to take whatever solutions are handed to us. It's a lot harder for you as men because society is telling you, hey, you need to hold it together. And we've segued into what I wanted to ask, that we look at you are protectors. It's actually the responsibility you have as husbands, as fathers. And in those moments of grief, everybody who's coming to say pole, saying pole, but there's an obvious bias towards the wife, the woman, and maybe rightfully so to some extent because she carried the baby, so she's going through recovery, etc. But there are moments where you completely feel forgotten in that process of grief, where people are coming, wanasema pole, lakini pole inaenda kwa mtu moja. It's almost like you're not experiencing pain or you're not experiencing grief. Have you felt that? And how do you think people can do it differently, can realize that you are experiencing the same levels of grief that your significant other is?
I think O'Neill mentioned it a little bit.
Yeah.
When he talked about whenever you are dealing with grief in different ways.
Yeah.
You are one, but you're dealing with grief differently. My friend CJ Atemo always says that in marriage, one of the things you need to be careful of is that you haven't seen your person go through different things, right? Including age. I don't know what I look and feel and sound and talk about when I'm 40.
Yeah.
I don't know. You haven't seen your partner go through grief. You haven't seen them be extremely happy. You haven't seen them be extremely broke. You haven't seen them have a lot of money. You haven't seen them be challenged at work, deal with the place where they have put their ego down. But one of the most important points is always grief, because you don't know. You don't know, first of all, how do you grieve? Even just as a person. It would be like, for me, back then, I would like to go.
Take a drive.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, how did you know? But then he said, take a drive. Yeah, I used to take a drive. Yeah, for me, I used to take a drive and just go and be quiet. No music, nothing, just the sound of the car, the rubber on the road, the trees, that can feel it when you're passing through things. And then going maybe to, just a secluded place, but mostly I go. That's how I don't want to be around, right? At the time, Mama Adana was, I want you here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like
Yeah.
I feel like the world already has been so much in our business.
Yeah.
And I just want nataka kuwe hapa.
Yeah.
We go through this thing together and you must be here.
Yeah.
Mimi, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So that I be better, so that when I come back from I can now be here.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is true. Most people would come and like, oh, now you need to be strong. And they finish for her.
Yeah.
So first of all, your face kind of lights up. You need to be strong. Like, yes, tell me something about me. Then I say, no.
For her.
Yeah, be strong for her. Be there for her. And like you said, it's rightly so. She felt the kicks and the groanings, and even after the pain of what people don't talk about, because sometimes your body still basically thinks
you've had a baby.
I've had a baby. So milk.
Yeah.
Breast milk is gonna be there.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to deal with that.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to deal with the pains of just healing and going through the 6 weeks after and everything. All that you're gonna have to deal with that, and so you have to have somebody dealing with you there.
Yeah.
But mostly for me, there's a point where, and it was everywhere. You remember, for me already, Sina, I'm not really going back to. On your name, on this name, I will build the church. I don't have that.
Yes.
For me, I'm already that part, and
this
was such an integral part of my life.
Yes.
I've always been taught, if you have a problem,
talk to God.
Talk to God. And now, this person who I'm supposed to talk to, Simtaki. All right, and I'm skipping messages on my timeline. I'm not interested. I'm muting people. I'm mad at people who listen to gospel music. I don't like gospel music. Everything. So who do I go to? Then the people I go to are telling me, okay, sawa, but you be strong for her first. So I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? What about me? I remember there's a point, one of the points that was sort of a turning point for me is now I was dealing with so much pain and I was in therapy.
Yeah.
And I remember this time I was dealing with pain. I was going through separation leading to divorce, and I was in pain, and I was home alone.
Yeah.
And I used to live on the 9th floor. And I just walked to the balcony and I looked down. I'm like, all right, since now already hatujui pali tunaenda anyway.
Yeah.
For me, the first thing I thought about is I miss my daughter so much, and the only way I can see her is if I go and join her.
Yeah.
And that thought became so strong for me.
Yeah.
And I stood there and I was about to actually jump.
Yeah.
I held down the reins like this. The next thing was to stand there in my mind. So it was flashes. You feel drawn. It's like in a kuita.
Yeah.
Like you feel like I want to jump. Like and I'm home alone and nobody would have. And so then, actually, I started shaking. I remember I started shaking. Then I walked back into the house, and then I believe God shut my body down because I lost all strength, and I just I was on the floor. Literally, I was crawling back to the sitting room, and I was shaking, and I was crying, and I was shaking. Then I felt like everything inside me was just held. And something's like, just go and jump. Like, you want to be with her, just go. It's the only way. But now I don't have strength. I can't move.
Yeah.
I'm literally crawling back now to go towards my phone so I can call my therapist. And on the way, I was like, I don't know how I can describe the feeling of defeat that I had. Because then again, so you're feeling like doing it, then you're beating yourself up for feeling that way. Then you're feeling pain, then you're shaking, then you can't move. And I'm moving towards the sitting room. And I remember literally, and the only time I actually felt relief for a person who was against God is actually when I said Jesus.
Oh, wow.
I actually was crawling and I just said Jesus.
Yeah.
And after I said that, I felt it's like things quieted down. And that's the only thing I repeated 2 more times.
Yeah.
I said Jesus one more time. And things got more quiet. And then I said, but then I just lay there. Like we used to have like a rug.
Yeah.
That was about the size of this table, sort of, a circle. And I just lay there.
Yeah.
And for a while I was just there. And I started talking to my daughter. I was like, I know I wish I could come, but looks like not yet.
Yeah.
And I wish, I know you're probably mad at me for what you and my mom are going through right now. And we just talked.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't understand what's going on. And it's so poetic to say I want to do this for you, and I do.
Yeah.
But I want to do something for me.
Wow. Yes.
Is it possible? If you would permit me to just, can I live for me? Like, because at that point I was like, I've lived for everybody. Everybody's been telling me be strong for this person, do this. There's a law for everybody but me.
Yes.
Like everybody is telling me to do everything except honor me,
take care of me.
Therapy is great, but you need to go to therapy to be strong, because you have a mission to reach out to other people. So there's always like a different why than you need therapy for you. Yeah. So like you need to be strong for your next. Yeah. So I was like, no, can I just?
Yeah.
And that's what.
Do you feel, Willis, because you've touched on this, and also getting from what O'Neill mentioned earlier, do you feel that, and I'd want all of us to chime in on this, that you experiencing loss of that magnitude at that time, do you think it was a big part of why you and your ex went separate ways? Because how loss a lot of times has played a big role in relationships, just because of that we're grieving very differently. Maybe you could be grieving, but I just don't get it at all. It looks like you're not grieving. Do you feel that loss had a part to play in that? And I want to hear from you guys as well, how you were able to grieve as couples. O'Neill talked about it going like this. I'd want to get a little bit into that, just to help people also navigate who are like, we're just this is not what we're going like this. So
I think what happened was, for what it does, what loss does sometimes is it when you start going those different ways, sometimes you kind of have you get, I like to call them, and O'Neill has them here, but you get a set of new glasses to look at things differently. So sometimes it wakes you up to certain realities that maybe you've not been dealing with. Things you've been sweeping under the rug. So things that because sometimes, and that's why I would encourage people to, keep, who are married partners, who want to just keep talking and checking where your partner is at as much as you can.
Are you okay?
Because you never know when something will come and stir up the waters. So it needs to, even if it doesn't find you strong per se, but it needs to let that be the thing that you'll be dealing with at that point. But so for me, I think it kind of did. Because again, you are grieving differently. You don't know what to say. It's a new area. And then again, you've not even talked about how to talk to each other. So, and you don't have a space for communicating. So even if I say something, umekach but hujaniambia. Right? And then if you say something, hata mimi nakach,
but hauniambii. So it continues to just build up.
Yes, it builds up. So that's what I would say.
And I would just segue off of what you said. Like, because I told you we were just drifting apart at that time. Because for me, when it happened, we were just done with the funeral. Now we are home with family. My family had gathered. Now it's we finished this. So the next move was, I was supposed to go to India for my treatment. For my treatment. So now, how do we do this? I'm angry. I'm grieving. My wife is grieving. Her parents have come over. I was dealing with so many things. But I'm grateful, as in at some point, because immediately that was done, I could see people gathering in small groups, huku, nini, pale. I'm like, what are these people talking about? Kumbe, they're having conversations about my treatment. And then I'm seeing my wife. So they sit there and go like, now we need to talk about, because people were supposed to leave, and just leave us. So they're just talking about, your wife, everything. And so I just went like, guys, actually, I started bawling right there. Let's just stop. I just lost a child. Can we just let me grieve a little bit, then we talk about my sickness? And I remember one of my uncles just go like, son, we are done with this. We need to take care of you now.
Wow.
We need to take care of you.
Yeah.
And one of my aunties, I've never forgotten this. After all that conversation had died, she pulled me aside and said, I know, my son, you're hurting. And I know you're in pain. But I want you to do something. I want you to take that pain you have and that grief you have, walk along your wife with it. Because she could notice that we are. And she said, don't even say anything. Just hold her hand.
Yeah.
Why? Because her family is here, has come, they will leave. You are her family.
Yeah.
Because even us, we will leave your house and go.
Yeah.
Just hold her hand, don't say anything. And I would say that is one of the key things that kept us together. Because at some point, don't forget, I'd said again, I was on steroids. I was a different human being.
Yeah.
So if I was happy, it was to the extreme.
Okay.
If I was sad,
Extreme.
it was the extreme. If I am angry about something, it is to the extreme. That we fought with my wife even about the gravesite. We fought about it.
Yeah.
And I was a monster at that point. I was being told some of the things I said. I was like, me? Because I really hurt her so much. And I've always apologized. And we even went through counseling to talk about it. And I apologized over and over.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't me. It was the meds inside my system as well. And now this new emotion of losing.
Yeah.
So, and I would say grief, when you're grieving and you see everyone usually like naturally gravitates towards the lady. Nobody cares about the dude. And it's back to the same culture thing we've talked about. But having just to be there together, hold each other and walk together. Because after that, after a while, we grieved separately.
Yeah.
And I remember one of our friends, a pastor friend who came and said, guys, you've grieved for a while. So I think now it's time for you guys to grieve together. Because everyone has grieved separately.
Yeah.
But it's time for you to grieve together.
Yeah.
And he said, it's important for you to grieve together for the sake of your marriage. Because if you don't do that, then your marriage will still be hurting.
Yeah.
Because as individuals, you will heal, but in the marriage, you'll be looking at each other with side eye. Because the other truth is, like I said, I asked God for that pain to be taken away.
Yeah.
God really took that pain away. That during that process, I was numb. I was just, I was like, God, you decided to do this. So
Yeah.
my wife was bawling, and so in her mind, she was also not understanding. Why are you not as sad as I am?
Why do you look okay?
Yeah.
You look like it's fine. Like, but
Yeah.
deep down, I was like, there's nothing I can do to change it. She's gone. And sometimes I would get angry and go like, come on, move on. But then I got to learn that it's not in my place to tell her when to be done or when to move on. It's not in my place.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem comes in, because we usually want where I'm at is where my wife or my husband should be at. And that's not true.
Correct.
We are different. We've been created different. We are male, female.
Yeah.
We have different emotions, different intellect, different understanding.
Yeah.
We are together because of this marriage. So in our emotions and everything we go through, it's separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only best thing we can do is be besides each other. Just like career-wise, you cannot go to your wife's workplace and work for her. No.
Yeah.
All you can do is support her and go like, babe, I know you're not feeling well, but
Yeah.
you need to
I'm
go
here.
to work. I'm here. I know you're not, but those things.
Yeah.
I find it interesting you're saying that. Now for me, I worked with my wife.
The same day.
These guys can tell you.
Yeah.
Now, I think it took me like a month to go back to work. Now, you're you're the face.
Yeah.
You need to be you're the one who's explaining to people what happened. Like you're the one who has to tell people what really happened.
Yeah.
Because now every single detail.
Man. Oh.
And that's another thing I would like to say. I really feel like we should stop doing that because it doesn't change the outcome.
Yes.
the outcome doesn't, to the level of somebody comes and tells me, you guy, you need to go and break ties, soul ties. You have soul ties in your family, go find out who.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, do your siblings have kids? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let me ask, does Mercy's siblings have kids? Imagine to that
so
level.
Inappropriate.
But as we said, I think now that's when we say the Holy Spirit gave me the strength to understand. You know, the human beings at the end of the day, they don't know what to say. Just like how Job's friends came, it figured a point they were like, you guys, you must have done something. That's why all this is happening to you.
His wife was like, curse God and die.
Yeah. You know, speaking about the wife, Kambua, can I tell you something? Around 2015, I think that's when I fully grasped the gospel of Christ, of the gospel of it's Him who justifies me to the Father. We used to have a lot of arguments with HB is my wife, about that. So like this and that, this and that.
Yeah.
Do you know when we lost Malachi? At some point I sat there, I looked, because she was really questioning God. I just like, she was where you at, Willis. At some point I looked at her, I was like, wait, am I going through this so that you could be taught this lesson? You mean I had to lose my son for you to learn this? I won't lie, it made me look at her in a different way.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I was like, wait, I'm feeling some kind of resentment towards my wife because I feel like, wait, she's the one who's making us going through this because she needs to be at a certain place with God. All of a sudden, I've already anointed myself by Samuel.
Yeah.
I'm the King David. So you're the one. You're the one who knows.
Wow.
Then it hit me. What? If I'm not careful, I'm also grieving. I'm also human. I have emotions. I'll end up hating her for no reason.
True.
And I thank God. I really thank Christ a lot because we have this kind of friendship that we talk a lot, we share a lot. So whenever I used to come back at home is when I used to cry. I figure the parking place, I just parked the car before going inside. And now she knew how the car sounds. So it's like, this guy is not yet inside. She'll keep quiet until I enter, and everything is settled. She'll be like, are you okay?
Yeah.
That's when I told her, hey, today, some guy just came and told me, hey, you guy, you know, you need to be there for Mercy, you need to, you have to be this, There's a family event, everybody knows what has happened. Her, of course, it takes a while for mothers to even go and expose yourself to an environment where the other kids. So, but this is Christmas. Again, this is the Christmas season. I have to go. I mean, my mother's called me. So we go. Everybody sees you. Mercy akwaje. I'm like, I'm here.
How about me?
As in, do you guys even see that I'm here?
Yeah.
At some point, I just used to leave that place. I'm like, I have to go check up on her. Do you know, I used to drive all the way to Langata Cemetery and just stay there. Because now I'm like, okay, nobody really just cares about this. But I thank God because this friendship kept us together to the level of we're able to be vulnerable around each other and explain what we are going through.
Yeah.
And that one really helped us.
Yeah.
And that's what I can hang on, our love for Christ and the friendship that we have.
Yeah.
That's what has held us until now.
Yeah.
And it's still holding us, and we're still trying to figure out how we're going about it. Because at the end of the day, we all sinners, trying to raise sinners.
Yeah.
We don't even know what's going on. So
there's something you said that is really profound. You know, whenever we are going through really high stress, emotional stress, we cannot think straight.
Yeah.
And you know, in all our conversation, we've talked about how God comes through. But you know, that is fertile ground where the devil shows up.
Yeah, baby.
Like Willis said something here about the situation and everything.
Yeah.
And you're saying, something was just telling him, dude, go jump.
Yeah.
You need to see your daughter, go jump.
Yeah.
You don't tell me it's his thoughts.
Yeah.
It's not,
That's the enemy right there, man.
And it's, you know, it's
The devil is real,
the
man.
voice is as clear as I can hear you now.
Yeah.
The devil is real, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he the truth is, his main success is making us discredit God. That's why he's called the accuser. And his job is to accuse God of the things he's not done.
Yeah.
Or even accuse us of things
You feel like you failed.
you fail, and he will tell you things how inadequate you are.
Yeah.
Or he will try to create all these kind of situations in your system.
Yeah.
Like, for example, it tells you to look at you look at your wife and go like, because of you, I have lost my
son.
You see, now the child is not ours anymore.
Yeah. Imagine.
It's mine. And the moment it comes to mine, there's no marriage. It's me. Marriage is us.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. And mostly during such scenarios, you find it's easy for people to just part ways because we become selfish.
Yeah.
And it is said when we are most hurt, that's when we are the most selfish. Whereby you just want to be by yourself. That's why Willis, you want to drive and just, you just want to be by yourself.
Yeah.
Why? Because I just want to take care of me first. Let me take care of me.
Yeah.
So I can take care of you.
Yeah.
And sometimes you wonder, why do you even shout? And it's not you shouting at people, even shouting at your wife. You're caring, and all, but when you're hurt, you just find yourself getting mean, and it's the same situation.
I think that's important to understand, I guess, because and like Omari said the same thing. And I remember we were working together, and that's one of the things we used to talk about. The way I remember when we used to walk in, and you'd be like, "Oh man, it's about to start."
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah, like we walk in, you're like, okay. By the time they get to by the time you get to your desk to sit,
You've talked to so
you've
many
talked
people.
to so many people, and everybody wants to hear the story.
Drained.
Then now you have to
Can't
work
even function.
Yeah.
Imagine.
and all of that stuff. And I remember for me, everybody was telling me all kinds of things, both online and personally.
Yeah.
And I think for me, people said, for example, because I do 10 over 10, I'm leading other children astray, so God had to take my
Oh
child.
my goodness.
So that it's a lesson to me, and if I don't learn,
Wow.
that is
Do
it.
it again.
I had people send me all kinds of stuff from the church to outside the church. Everybody was telling me, everybody had a theory
Yeah.
of why this thing had happened, including even my partner at the time.
Yeah.
So it is hard for you to just focus on healing sometimes when I think there's something profound that Ivy once told me, that it's very hard to heal in the environment that broke you.
Yes.
Right? So sometimes it's
Change.
change is important, and sometimes you have to recognize that environment, because sometimes your toxic thoughts and all that, it could be you as well. Yeah, so it could be wewe ndo pia wewe.
Yes.
You need some work done in yourself.
Right.
Like you're saying, sometimes you go back and you listen, what did I actually say that?
Yeah.
But where was it coming from? You see, the thing about even for men, we don't like to. By the way, you can be a professional at everything else. Let me tell you, Leo, your internet stops working. Utakuwa the dawn. Your car, there's a button. No, unajua carburetor ni nini, hizo unajua. You know the intricacies of the car, and which valve goes when, what goes where, na hii kitu sijui ni V6, V8, na what, all that stuff. But you don't know that about your life.
That's true.
Ikifika the details about your life, the root cause of the things that makes you run and makes you, we don't take time to sit. Which includes, which I always say is a very important part, and I've always been so open and said that that I have wrongs that I did.
Yeah.
There's a role I played even in my marriage ending.
Right.
So, but you have to be comfortable enough to say, hapo na mimi ndo nilikuwa
To own it.
hapo na nimekosa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was my toxicity, and there was that.
Yeah.
But now the problem is, you see, when now it comes to something like grief, is again, as a man, the way we are built is the car is not starting because battery mpya inahitajika, spark plug sijui imefanya nini, wheels sijui imefanya nini, haikuwa run flat, you have solutions, right? But now when it's grief, so why have we lost? That's why you think, maybe it could be her.
You're trying to find
the
reason.
Yes.
Because that's how you're wired.
Yeah.
Because you're wired, like,
To explain.
why? It must be, is it something I didn't know? I nilifuata the, so to speak, mutaratara of this thing.
Yeah.
Is it something somebody said? Is it sin? Is it, did I allow the devil in at this part? Or was I too self-righteous? Or like for me, I was thinking that drive between Ngong Road to the hospital, did I drive too fast?
Yeah.
Did we hit a bump that I didn't know?
Yeah.
Like, how come there was a heartbeat at Ngong Road and there was no heartbeat at Nairobi hospital.
Yeah.
Because it was me driving. Like, was it me? Did I drive? Was I too happy? I wasn't thinking about what she was going through. Maybe there was there's a pain. Maybe angeshika pale, ningoana ameshika pale. I would have brought it to the attention of the doctors. Yeah. Or was I, that time, should I have not gone to feel that thing? Should I have been there, like you said, to get the information?
Yes.
Did you wait for too long for the ultrasound? You know, so many things. Because you're trying to find...
To wrap your head around it, make sense of the situation.
What is my role in this?
The eye.
Yeah.
You need to satisfy the eye in that situation.
What did I do?
The eye. And the truth is...
What I have done.
You know, there's nothing we can do in this life to stop death.
Yeah.
That is the one thing that gave me peace about it. Why? Because when my child was dying, there were 3 adults in that very compound. 3 of them. Not far. One was inside the house. The other one, the nanny, was actually the one who was supposed to be in charge, was on the phone. There was a gardener who was taking care of the place. And none of them had anything. Do you know, I tried to make sense of that and just went like, God allowed this to happen. That is the only thing that made sense to me. Because she knew how to swim. She knew a bit of... God allowed it. She knew how to... She could do it. Because the mom used to go with her every other time. And that is one of the situations that... Last weekend, we went swimming with our daughter. We have a daughter now. I praise God for it. And we went swimming. But my wife still... I'm not where she's at. But I now have to work with her to get to where I'm at.
Right.
You know? So there's situations that we will never find the answers to up until that day when we stand face to face with God, and then He will tell us, dude, you know what? I did this because of this. And like we were talking backstage, you know, as human beings, we kind of feel sometimes and think the plans we have and the agendas we have for our children, our family, ourselves, they should all come to pass the way we want them. And the problem we have is we even have now the devil who's in church now and speaking from the pulpit, telling us things that are not straight from what God is saying. And we believe those. So we have expectations on God that when God doesn't come through, we'll find another crazy thing to put there. That's why tunakuja na stories of soul ties, stories sijui za nini, all those kind of things to mess us up. And you find that now several people, like now the problem we have is we find there's no even men who go to church. We have a lot of men who are grieving, who don't want anything to do with God. Because you find like they were either faithful to God or not, or their wives were like really into church. And then God did this. They want nothing to do with God anymore. But the truth is, God is still, like you said, yuko hapa tu ametulia na watuangalia tu. Si ndio tunazunguka uji meza tu tuko kila mahali.
You know, there's one day something very profound happened. I've just thought about when you said that. When I was very pissed off. And I think, I don't know where it was, you know, I'm also a Lou. I'm tempted to say I was in America.
What do you say?
Hey. I don't know where I was. Geographically.
Okay, Willis, you were in America.
America, it is.
Thank you.
America, you're in America.
Go ahead.
Tell us about it.
There's this one time I was really mad and I was angry and I was questioning God. I was like, what? And then so one time, so I said, okay, fine. God, where are you? And, you know, like the immediate response I got was, I'm in you.
Oh, wow.
Like, so wacha kuuliza niko, just look inside. And utanipata hapo.
Been there.
Mimi I have not moved my location. I've been there. I just needed you. And that's, I always say the relationship I have with God now, and I think everybody should have, I believe, is, you know, we always, and He is high there, He's up there, He's all powerful, all these things. But it's more of prayer is conversation, which means 2 things. It means you can talk, but you should get a response. Whether it is through the Word of God, whether it's you pray about something, then you meet Kambua, then she just mentions something that resonates.
Yes.
Whether a preacher reads John 3:16 and something from them jumps out, a rhema jumps out for you, it should be two-way. In one way, shape, or form.
Yes,
should
conversation.
It should be conversation. And this is somebody, one of my cousins says, akikasirika, she pulls out an empty chair and a cup and says, Sasa Mungu, ni hivi na hivi na hivi na hivi na hivi. Okay, let's have a conversation. And it should be, because and there's no use when you're in pain and you're feeling, I don't want to talk to you now, to go and be like, oh, but we praise the Lord. No, oh my God. Had it not
being pretentious.
Yes. Because he knows.
Yeah, he knows.
He knows your heart. He knows your thoughts. He knows you're praying for that person. Oh Lord, please bless them. No, I don't want them to bless. If it was up to me, I want them to suffer. Psalms make the ground slippery.
David said.
Yes, David did say that, right? So don't pretend. If that's your prayer, as to the fulfillment of it, because
vengeance is of the Lord.
Yes,
God's eye view.
Yes, and God's eye view. So for me, even when you're dealing with grief, and a partner or somebody else, because even if, for me in this table, I am for the people who, if you want to try again.
And that's so important to hear.
If you're trying again and you get a new partner, first of all, you have to make them understand where you are completely. Right? Like you said, at this point, your wife is not yet ready to go back swimming without feeling a sort of, but you have
anxiety.
And my daughter loves swimming. So
and there's nothing you can do about it.
And we cannot deny her that.
Exactly. So for me, the thing is, when you want to try, you have to first understand, like for me and Ivy, I had to talk to her and say, now, two things happened to this man you love. Number one, I'm a divorcee. Number two, I've lost a baby before. So, relationship-wise, some things might, something I'm nakuja na mzigo. I'm rolling something. Yes, a serious niko na 20-foot container. Imeland fresh. Na goods zake zimekaa huko sana, because I have some issues that I'm still dealing with. So if we are to relate, I'll still have some remnants, the things that you'll do, say that may trigger me. There's a way I may behave and you might not understand. And even now I remember with the baby, even after Mali was born, I was proper helicopter parent. Because I'm afraid, like, what if he doesn't make it? I don't want to go through that again. So you have to understand where you're at. Like even with God, like there's a comedy special that Steve Harvey has. He says, don't trip, he's not through with me yet. Like sijafika hapo. I'm not yet there where I can comfortably tell you I fully believe in God. And it took me so long to go back to church. So long, because I was like, I've been here. I've been easy vitu nasema nimeambiwa. I know all these things you're trying to tell me, sir, ma'am. So,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Goodbye. Let's read another book.
It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure chilling. So, but if you're not open, I guess, about where you are, first of all, with God in terms of this is what I feel right now, this is where I am. Because we have so many opportunities where we can stay in a place of pain for so long, and then it sort of, for lack of a better, it becomes you. So everything you look at, you look through the lens of pain. Every single thing. And it's always, they're doing this thing against me, from God to your neighbors, to your spouse, to your children, to family, to all these people. And so for me, I guess, it's just to be honest with all your conversations. My brother always says you have to get your vertical right,
I love it,
so that you can get your horizontal right.
I love it. When I started, I've also gone through extensive therapy, grief therapy, and then therapy after that. And I remember one of my current coach, actually life coach, when I started working with her, I remember her telling me, Kambua, I want you to start operating from a point of advantage, because when you've had so much happen to you in your life, you can easily become a victim, seeing everything through the lens of pain, and you don't realize that you're operating from a point of disadvantage. You always feel like things are working working against me. I'm not where everybody is. Everybody's ahead. Why did this happen to me? All which are very understandable and justifiable questions. But then it holds you back from so many things. It holds you back from even trying again, having another baby or finding somebody to love. It holds you back from so many things because you feel I am disadvantaged. Woe unto me, all of these things happen to me. I like that we've brought up the conversation of even the words that people have said in your journey of grief, that you would even dread walking through the gates of work because you're like, okay, I'm going to have to be explaining again. And I think we need to say this so clearly to our people, to the society and people listening, that it is not appropriate to keep asking a grieving parent, tell me what happened, so what happened? Can you imagine how many times that person has to explain this? You have to keep reliving that moment, a moment that is so devastating for you that you have to keep reliving it. I think the way I see it is I should create a space that's so safe for you that if you ever feel that you want to lean in and bring me into your pain and tell me, then you can do that. But not from people just, can you explain to me exactly what happened? And then stop trying to give ideas and suggestions of what could have happened, because this is Omari who said they won't bring my baby back. They will not.
No, it won't.
Even if you tell me it was because I remember one pastor who said there was probably past sin in your life, and I was like, what are you talking about? So are you telling me you don't have past sin? Is that what you're saying? And I'm like, there are people who said to us when we lost our child, she should never have posted her pregnancy publicly for the evil eyes. And I'm like, I worked on national television. How was I going to hide a pregnancy, And there are people who put pregnancies on billboards and they make it through their pregnancy just fine.
Yeah.
So what are we saying? That people need to be so slow to speak. Slow to speak.
Yes.
Even when you feel inakuasha tu, you want to say something, hold your...
Or even utapata mwingine.
Utapata mwingine.
Usijali, utapata mwingine.
You're young. You guys are young.
Yeah, I think you said it right, Kambua.
Yeah.
As in, not just all this, as in, just show up.
Yeah.
Say, if you have nothing to say, shut up.
Yeah.
Just be there. Be quiet.
Yeah.
Be quiet. That's all we need.
Yeah. Sit with me.
Just sit with me.
Yeah.
Don't tell me anything. Just be there.
Yeah.
Just be there.
Yeah.
And she said, if I need to say something, I will say it to you. But don't you, because of your own guilt and you trying to make yourself feel good about yourself, you start saying things that don't make sense. You just make me feel stupid.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to make my emotion feel unwarranted because you think God will give me another one. But right now, I'm not in that space. Because there's nowhere in the Bible where it says it is wrong for me to be angry. We have so many stories of people in the Bible who were angry at God.
Yeah.
And they even had a meeting.
Yeah.
There's one who even wrestled with God.
Yeah.
Why can't I do that? When I'm doing that, like, no. It's okay. No, let me do it.
Yeah.
My way.
Yeah.
As long as I will not sin.
Yes.
Let me do it. But you are busy here trying to make me not cry, not to feel the way I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to justify the feeling you have.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, people out there need just to understand that. And even men, we need just to be there for each other. Just be there. Because sometimes, because we don't know what to say. Because I have an example. When I lost my child, actually, this is a good friend of mine.
Yes.
When I lost my wife, this guy never spoke, as in, he's a buddy, he never spoke to me in a long time. Because he was in Nairobi then.
Yes.
Then we meet and he goes like, bro, I didn't know what to say to you, man. I didn't know what to tell you. So I couldn't even call you or anything.
Yeah.
And guess what? I just embraced him and I said, thank you. Because I know you love me enough and you didn't have anything to say and you could not show up. So you did not say anything stupid. But I know where your heart is. You love me and you loved her because she was like a sister to you.
Yeah.
And we cried and that was it. And I think that was one of the most special moments for me.
Wow.
Why? Because this guy he didn't know what to say. He couldn't text me. Because, you have those people who are your friends, but they're not just your friends. They're your friend and your wife's friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if with that loss, it is not just you they're thinking about.
Yeah.
They're also grieving.
Yeah.
Because even I had a moment whereby my close friends were not there. I was just by myself in my house sometimes.
Yeah.
I would just sit there, cry by myself, and that even my mother-in-law had to find a body and made sure that he would come and make sure I've eaten.
Yeah.
He would just show up every day. I'm like, why are you showing up?
Almost close to us.
Lunchtime, dinner, you are here.
Did I invite?
Then he just said, by the way, Tina's mom has told me to show up to make sure you've eaten.
Wow.
I said, okay. And he was just showing. Whenever you'd come, he would sit there,
Yeah.
to watch movie. As in, he's just subtle.
Yes.
And go like, tabidi tupige msosi hapa. As in, but he was doing his, and he made sure I ate because I didn't want nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what you need. You need people who will just be there and just do life with you.
Be there.
Walk with you through the pain and the heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, that happened to me as well. I had Mr. Omari here, and I had my other friends who they would do the same thing, and I didn't even realize they would do it. But almost every day or every other day, somebody would come and just check up on me, and see how I'm doing. And I'd like to be, very philosophical and proper and say, I was praying, but I was drinking.
Yeah.
They would come with some bottles,
Okay, so it wasn't tea.
Yeah, it wasn't tea.
The coffee, yeah.
Yeah, and there were other plants I used as well. So,
the herbal life.
yes, sir.
Okay.
It becomes you. Anyway, but you see, the fact that, and they weren't coming necessarily to like, so it happened actually, or how are you feeling today? And those questions are important, right?
Yeah.
As to where you're at, etc. But sometimes they'll just come and just chill. Like you're saying, let's watch a movie, tell me stories of what's happening out there. And then after that, ikifika time, they go.
Yeah.
And even my friends, I remember one of my very good friends who unfortunately we lost, Cliff. His name is Cliff Moses Ochieng. He was he never used to talk a lot.
Yeah.
But even if he would come, he would come and just sit somewhere in a corner. But he's just there. Yeah. He's there among other friends, but he would kind of disappear. But he's there. He'd crack jokes occasionally, laugh. But his job was, he knew how to show up and be quiet.
Gift of presence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you see, that's the other thing that people also don't understand. Sometimes when you've gone through loss, every other loss just seems magnified. Like if you lose a job, if you're not making it on time, if you lose a contract, or even something simple as you lose a parking space. Like when I'm going to parking, you're like, I can't get a break at anything.
Yes.
Like everything just seems to be
Not working against me.
Yeah.
Become a victim.
Yeah. So the friends really help. And like even for Ivy, she was my friend before the child loss. And I'm happy that, no matter what happened, she said, you know what, we're gonna stay.
Nice.
I'm gonna be your friend.
Yeah.
My friend Arvin, all these people, John, Gideon, all these people they would call.
Yeah.
Sometimes how therapists normally tell you, like, the only time I will divulge information about the session is if you're either going to be a danger to somebody else or if you're in danger.
Yes.
So for example, that time that I attempted suicide, she had to call the office.
Yes.
Then said, do you know where this guy lives?
Yeah.
And so now they send somebody, and now they're doing like hour check-ins. I didn't know it at the time, of course I explained later, but every hour they would call me and say, hey, uko sawa? So I'm going to check, ninafanya kitu hapa? Alafu nitakukall. So they call back after an hour, uko bado? Nilikuwa nataka kupitia. Then, nimekuwa busy, they keep, like, are you still picking up your phone? Are you still, what? They send them to come through.
That's very special.
Yeah, so it's you need to, the art of being there and also not saying something, but if you can, say something, but let it be constructive and not cliche.
Not cliche.
Yeah.
Not that it is wells. And,
it is wells and I mean,
will be well.
Yeah, somebody even also met, maybe God looked at the life of your daughter and thought maybe kumbele atakuwa msichana mbaya. And so alisema, instead of you going through that pain ya kuwa msichana mbaya, amemchukua. But in my mind I'm like, singekuwa msichana mbaya but ako hapa. Tunaweza ongea nimpigie kelele niambie wewe ni msichana mbaya but ako hapa. So there is no need to
Yeah, those things honestly they absolutely add no value at all. I want us, we're in the holiday season. So as we wind this conversation up, I want you guys to tell me how the first Christmas was for you after you lost Itana, after you lost Malika, after you lost Adana. That first Christmas, I think when I experienced a little bit of it was my first Christmas after losing my dad. I was like, what is this? It was so difficult. And then, of course, later, losing a child became a completely different thing. But how was it for you guys, the first Christmas after loss?
Hey, Kwanza, let me tell you, the worst thing is there are a couple of guys who are pregnant at the same time. Guess what they're doing? Sharing posts. Our first Christmas. Where? It was bad.
Yeah.
I can tell you the first Christmas wasn't easy. And I don't think any Christmas after that has ever been the same.
Yeah.
That first Christmas was hard. Kambua, it was really hard. And I think going forward, we had to reach to a level of understanding of our life is not the marking scheme of everyone.
Yes.
Reality is still happening around us.
Yes.
Like you said, we can't bury our heads in the sands in our sorrows and think everything needs to stop here because it affects other relationships around us.
Yeah.
And we all know Christmas is a loving season. To some level, even you can even get into weird places with family, like your own sibling, their in-laws. You can get in a weird place if you don't come to that realization. My prayer is that people understand that, because if you don't, this season is very sensitive. Emotionally, you are here. So any something small will just trigger you and take you back there. If you don't know or realize or not be present to the level of understanding, I'm not yet healed. I've not yet come to the understanding that I need to be at peace with this thing. It will really mess you up. All I can say is I really pray that people understand that, because if you don't, things will just work out for me. Like you're saying, small things like a parking spot.
Yes.
Something like why can't you guys come to our place? I'm like, why do you guys all want me to do something? And you're triggered. You're triggered very easily. You're very sensitive. That all I can say is Christmas. It's a heavy one. It's a heavy one.
You guys, Willis, on you.
When you say Christmas, for me, with all these colors and everything, first Christmas was 2019. Tana is part of our life. She's here.
Yes.
This is the craziest thing. I don't know who I was talking to about houses. And they're talking about the way, in the West, we're backstage. The room has your stuff still in it, So my mother-in-law sent a care package. That's what they call it. It comes, it's a box with baby clothes. These baby clothes, there's one dress that my wife wore when she was a baby.
Oh, yeah.
So we put her in it, sat under a tree and took a picture. So the next Christmas, we're in India. I'm in this hospital bed. And looking at that picture, it just tore my heart to pieces.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it is painful.
Yeah.
But one thing, there's a friend of my wife, one of her best friends, she said to her actually, and she shared this, and I found it to be so profound, that when you have a Band-Aid, you only rip it once. You'll feel that pain once. You'll have the scar, but you cannot just protect it. You need to rip the Band-Aid at some point. So that Christmas was one of those ones. It was painful.
Yeah.
Do you know we could not go anywhere because we were in isolation?
Yes.
Because of the whole treatment situation whereby we were just in this tiny room. It's me and my wife for a whole month. You cannot go anywhere.
Wow.
You cannot go out. You're in this bubble room and because COVID was, and the treatment itself, that is where we were. So we did Christmas, I did my birthday in there. So a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
But one thing I'm grateful for is, Scripture says, he works all things for good of those who love him. Some of the good does not make sense. Like that, us being in that room together like that is what has kept us together to date. Because the following Christmas, we hung Christmas lights. We now even have ornaments that she liked, she played with. We have ornaments with her pictures.
Nice.
We've decided her memory will be there.
Yes.
It will live along with us. And in every celebration we have as a family, she's part and parcel of that. That even her sister now knows she has an older sister. She sees a picture and she knows this is my older sister. We were lucky enough to get to that point. And there's people who don't. But let's not just, let's leave that memory. Let's embrace it. And there's something you said which is so profound, that we need to know ourselves as well. Because if you know where you're at and you know how things are, know your surrounding. There's people, you know, this is my family, but we ni mtu waga ana break. So I would rather avoid you. Because atasema kitu itaniuma. Na ikiniuma, next thing is wanaume itabidi tumalize. Na ukiangalia labda ni ankolia wife yako. You know, sasa hapo so I don't think I'm in a space for us to go for Christmas at your folks. Wacha kwanza. Just understanding yourself, where you guys are at, and choosing safe spaces to do some of this until when you get to a place where we can now mingle with our families, because some of the people who will hurt us the most, our families.
Close people, absolutely.
I think for me, Christmas, the first Christmas was really hard because like it leads up to, it marks for me the day. I remember Christmas, I was very excited, and I held the belly of Mama Adana, and I was like, hey Adana, I can't wait to see you. And she was like, pop, kicking. And so for me, and then it normally for me starts, because even in your thought process, like, so this is the last time I had the heartbeat, this is the last time this is the last time I felt the kicks, etc. So for me, it starts the process of, like, I'm building up towards this day. Actually, normally from December 1st, almost, so just around October, because like a lot of things, you know, for me, I remember a lot of stuff, right? It's like, because before, even just as a person, I would never really express myself. I'm doing more of that now. But I'm also used to putting things in, then escaping into my thoughts. So I remember dates, times, smells, but all of that kind of thing. So I remember the convention week normally used to happen around August, which then was around Mama Adana's birthday. So it normally starts around that time. Because then I know from then it went into October, into November, into now. When it comes to December 1st, I'm like, okay, here we go. And sometimes it will just happen across random days. You don't even expect it. You know, like, it's funny, but Pastor Esther Basik always says, he just enters without invitation. So, unfortunately, same thing happens for grief. The days nimeanza siku tu vizuri, I'm out of the house, I go, and I'm okay, everything is all right. Then the memory just hits you, and you bawl, you cry, and you're like, what is happening? Like I was okay. And you just, or for me, every time I see a very beautiful sunrise or sunset, I'm like, it reminds me a lot about Adana. So sometimes that happens and you just cry. You see those moments you're having of being in the car, cry. There's a time I was in the middle of traffic and it happened. So it happens every time, but more so to us now. Like for me, the first Christmas was intense because it was the first Christmas without both of them. Didn't have Mama Adana, didn't have Adana. And I was like, man, what's happening? Like, how can something be so together? And now it is so completely unhinged, broken. Things just took a tangent. You know, like, wachana na how you say you drove on, you're in the fork of the road, you go left or right. It's kind of like you just went in the middle to nowhere. So you don't know what the plan is. And then dealing with this grief, and I think the very first one, it's so vivid. Like, I can't even use the same, there's a specific brand of soap. I can't use shower gel. I can't. Like everything around that moment. So for me, it was painful. And I was just blessed that the people around me also realized that, hey, this is around that moment. And they were there for me, you know, in their capacities. Those who can talk, like you say, those who can't. And even it kind of almost waters down, like you said, not all Christmases are going to be the same, because you're like, there was a time when I was celebrating and then calamity ilikuwa inaningojea to next. So like, sijui sasa, is there going to be a repeat? Is there, what do I do? And then again, so ikifika that day, in terms of being a day you're no longer with this person, do I reach out? Do I not reach out? Do I holler? Do I don't?
What's the right thing to
say? You know, all of that stuff, you know. So I think for people who are not together with the mother of their child, if they did go through that loss, I think, and then this goes back to explaining to your, if you are now in a new relationship, what that means. So for me, I will always, I think, as long as I can live, always on that day, reach out to the mom, if I can.
That's noble.
Always, because no matter what happens, the thing that will never change, that this is Mama Adana. And she will hold a special place just for that reason. So I will always, no matter what happens, reach out. So just because of that level of respect to that end. And for me, I think that's something that should be done. And this is even if you haven't gone through loss. If you have somebody who's the mother of your baby, on special days, birthdays, especially where, like you say, there's no more, when it's a baby, it's us.
It's us.
It's not me. This is who you. Your had fun creating the baby. Might as well be there for the rest of right? So be there and reach out. And if you watch this and you haven't reached out to the to your baby, number one. Or your baby's mom, take this as that cue that you're not watching this by accident, and actually reach out to that person. Because I think it's very important. And like you said, the truth is, no Christmas will be the same. Especially the anniversary of the loss. That day is always, sometimes you don't know what to expect, you don't know how it's going to go. But and then you also almost feel guilty to be happy on that day.
So when you're talking about that, this is for me and my wife, who say, this is the curveball that God gave us. October 20th, we lose Etana. 2021, October 21st, Nuru is born.
Oh, wow.
So this day, we in memory of Etana going to heaven. The second day, we have a birthday.
Wow. It's like extreme.
It's two extremes. But that is what God has put in our lives. And we actually have to accept it and go like, we cannot dampen her birthday. So what we do is we celebrate the fact that Eternal was in our lives. God gave her to us. That's why, we have the celebration of life. And I think when we look at it as a privilege that God gave each of us to have the children and the people that he's taken from us. Because the truth is, there's no one who can take any life out of this world if it's not God himself. So God gave us the privilege of these lives, of being part and parcel of the stories of those lives. Be it a wife, be it a father, whoever that has gone before us, we should celebrate the fact that God chose us to be part and parcel of that.
And I think what you're saying, O'Neill, I usually say is that grief, joy and pain can coexist. They actually can. And so it's able to, what Willis has alluded to, where you I feel a little guilty for being happy on that day.
Yeah.
And you know, even when you're going through, when you've just had a loss, like when Omari, when we're laying baby Faraja to rest on that day, and we had a moment of laughter, and I talked about this when we were talking with Mercy. We had a moment of laughter. We laughed so hard, and then we were like, oh my gosh, we're at a funeral. What are people thinking? Are they thinking we're whatever? You feel guilty that you laughed, but I see them as I call them pockets of joy that God gives us to even be able to ride that wave. You know, you need those pockets, and being able to take those pockets without feeling guilty. You know that I can. This is the memory of my baby. It's a day, my baby's memorial, and I've laughed, and I shouldn't feel guilty about it. And people shouldn't make you feel like, aren't you supposed to be a little sad? I think people should allow us to, if you'll remember that day through laughter, awesome. If it's through tears, awesome. If it's both, awesome. Whichever way that it comes. And I think it keeps changing as we go. I'll give you guys, just to give us a parting shot, one thing that you want to leave our people with. But let me also just mention, now that we've talked about the holidays and Christmas, celebrating the birth of our Lord Jesus. When Willis talked about God said he's in you. What did you? Where are you,
where
God?
Where are you? I'm in you.
I'm in you. Yeah. My brother-in-law, who is also my pastor, I remember when we just lost our son Malaka. At that time, because people would say things to me and I would hear them but not hear them, that white noise sort of thing. I'm like, okay, you're saying things. But so what I started doing was, when someone starts talking or praying, I'd press the record button on my phone. And then later I'd listen to it, and so at some point it would land in my spirit, right? So I remember him coming home one time and he was praying, so I hit the record button, and when I replayed that prayer, which I have done a lot over the years following, I remember him at one point saying, Emmanuel, God with us. It means that we are your address. You are where we are. And that has remained with me. And in this season where we are celebrating Emmanuel, just to remind whoever is watching that you are his address. He is where you are. That dark place, that place of brokenness and pain, he is right there. You are his address. He is with you. He didn't go anywhere. He is right there with you. And because he's with you, you will go through whatever it is that you're in. I think you've listened, you've heard the men on this table talk about heavy, heavy, heavy things. And the mothers who've come over the last couple of weeks talk about deep things, and you're like, how have they been able to move forward with all of these things? It's because the one who is in you will help you to navigate whatever it is that comes your way. And also to just tell you that there's life beyond grief. Look, there's life beyond loss. You know, they are here, they are whole, they're laughing, they're dreaming, they're, pursuing life. And so if anything else, just the vision of seeing them right here, telling you that you can live beyond this moment. So I want to get a parting shot from each and every one of you. Who's ready to start?
Omanyo.
Oh, me.
Oh, me.
But some people call me that.
Oh, really?
Omari.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I can say is I truly believe nothing happens by chance. Everything happens for a reason. And the fact that you're in that place, my prayer for you is that you learn whatever it is that God wants you to learn. Personally, I'm still in that journey. I'm still learning. But all I can tell you is that I'll just point you to the cross and show you the Savior who died for our sins, where the grave, death was defeated, and everything is just laid to rest and at peace. And may He give you peace that surpasses all understanding. And that you be real, authentic to yourselves as much as you can be, because at the end of the day, you only have you and Him, no one else. So that's all I'll do. I'll just point you to the cross and tell you, you are loved. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing you need to change. He loved you as you are, so you just be you. Everything else will just fall into place. And it's as simple as that.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, kamera nyumbani ni gani? Kunyosha mkono. All right. So I guess for me, I'll just say number one, and this is something Omari likes telling me a lot about, that it's not a coincidence, and we talked backstage, it's not a coincidence that this happened. The good thing that God has, Omari called it God's eye view. He saw that this Omari who is there, O'Neill who is huko Mombasa, Kambua wako pale, Willis ako huko. Different moments, different times in their lives, but one day they'll be on a table like this one. That just shows you the long game, so to speak, that God has. I just like to encourage you, and one of the things I say, and people think I'm joking, but I always truly mean it when I say God loves you and that will never change. Whether you'll watch this in the wrong bed, whether you're in a brothel, whether you're in church, whether you'll watch this in a bar with subtitles. I like that, or closed captions. I like that Kambua said that thing was so profound, that you're his address. Like you're, and you know, address can mean a lot of things. It can mean, it means like, Indo place Mungu anapenda kuenda. Like this is where Indo home. You know, like whenever you're on the map and you say take me home or and then tells you have arrived, umefika. You know, if you've been looking for a place to rest, umefika. And uendo place nani, God anataka kukuwa hapa na wewe. So I just like to say God loves you and that will never change, and truly believe in second chances. Somebody said he gives second, third, fourth, fifth. You know the number of times you've said, you know, but he still opens his door, and he still lets you in, and it's okay because we're at different points in our lives. And if you're going through grief, if it happened to you this year, if you watched this and it happened to you yesterday, if you watch this and it happened to you this week, this is going to be that first anniversary we've been talking about. This is going to be that first set of holidays where you don't have your significant other, your child, or you've lost somebody, your parent. Just I'd say, number one, go through it. Allow yourself just to grieve. Allow yourself to be in the moment. That day might come and you laugh, like Omari did. That day might come and you're sad. That day might come and you're crying and you just want to be indoors. Whatever it is you need to do just to get through it. Go ahead and do it, so long as it's safe and legal. Go ahead and do it, but also don't close the door to one of the other things I advocate for, which is therapy. If you can, we've talked about it. If you can and you can afford it, go for it. There are some people who you can reach out to, myself, to Ivy. There are people who offer a few counseling sessions for free. And we can point you towards them, so you don't have to lock yourself and say, no, I can't afford it. There is real Mike Washira also always posts people who are doing it for free as well. Talk to somebody. Prayer is indeed a weapon, but therapy is a strategy. So yes, pray, but get into the strategy to get better. Remember that you have a role in this thing. In terms of if you're going through something that maybe it's a divorce or something like that, you have a role in it. For grief, don't look for the role in it. I mean, just be through it, go through it, and know that you're going to be okay. Finally, to the people who are spouses and partners of somebody who's going through grief as well, be gentle with them. Remember, you're on the same side. You can tackle this thing together, and you can have to balance between giving them time to get to where you are, like O'Neill said here, and to get to and finally walk together. And if you can't say anything, please shut up.
Hold your peace.
Hold your peace, all right? But remember, God loves you and that will never change. And successful people look like you. And like I always say, there is enough room in the sky for eagles to fly. So I'll always see you at the top.
Oh, nice. Wow. O'Neill.
What do I say after
that? I was going to say that. Thank God. Thank God
Anyway, as he was speaking, there's just, for me, it was parting short is what I've always believed. I'll say it in Swahili, it sounds better.
Wow.
Mungu akupi kilema na akakunyima mwendo wake. God will not give you a challenge or a hurdle in your life that he will not walk you through it. So whatever you're going through, God is still in control. And never believe a lie that God is not there. God is constant. Willis is a testimony. At that point, it hurts. It doesn't make sense. Yes, I agree, especially for us men who are out there. I agree. it will not make sense. Nobody will tell you anything about what you're feeling that will make sense.
Yes.
Only God will make sense.
Yeah.
Why? Because the person you've lost, you did not create them.
Yeah.
God did.
Yes.
So they belong to God. And anyone who has answers about that person, it is God. Because God is the one who created you. And we've spoken here all through that everything revolves around God.
Yeah.
And God gives us, and God gives take away. Isn't it? It says God gives and God takes away. The verse continues, says, blessed be his name. So in all this situation, what is it that I will hold to and bless the Lord for? But the moment we make it about us, we will find no reason to bless God for. Because I choose to believe, like even now as I walk through this journey of life, God has blessed me. How? I have a daughter. I'm expecting another child right now. God willing.
Yeah.
I'm trusting Him. There's some of us who are sitting out there, we can't have babies of our own.
Yeah.
That's not the end.
Yeah.
We have enough children in this country that are looking for a parent. So many people can father babies, but not so many can parent children. And maybe you're sitting there having this amount of love that you have that you want to give, but you have no one to give, and so you're grieving. Someone explained this to me and said, grief is unexpressed love.
Yes.
So don't waste your time just grieving. There's so many kids out there that need that love that you're holding back. And maybe that's what God has in store for you.
Yeah.
So I'll advocate. Find an adoption agency. There's so many children in this country who are being thrown in pit latrines that maybe you are the father who was supposed to keep and raise them and change this world.
Yes.
So let's not hold off love that we have freely received from God by trying to make things work our way.
Yeah.
Let go, they say, and let God take control.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What can I say? What can I say? I have to say, first of all, thank you guys for your honesty. Is so refreshing and it's so uplifting. Thank you for saying yes to being here. Thank you for, I also need to say that each and every one of you, when I went through loss, reached out, and I thank you for that. And I think that something that grows out of you when you've gone through loss is you become very empathetic. That maybe in the past things you would have overlooked, you now see it and you're like, this person needs me to reach out. So I thank you for doing that, and we have to keep passing that along. Okay, it don't say hatujuani na huyu mtu. Let me tell you, when you're in the pits of that thing, anything is like a breath of life. So go ahead, send that DM, send that text, make that phone call. Don't be intrusive, but just, politely and gently do that and send that nudge. Let them know I am here if you need anything. But I want to thank you all it's been worth waiting all those episodes to bring the guys here. They have not held anything back. We have talked, we have exhausted for today, the conversation. I know my producer Nina is probably like, how long is this episode? We'll figure that one out later. But oh my goodness, I'm so lifted myself just listening to you guys, and I pray every blessing over your lives, every blessing over your families, the children who we shall meet when we get there to the other side, and the children who are here who we have been entrusted with, just every blessings on every side.
Amen.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
And to all of you watching us, Sante Sana, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation, for sending in your comments, your questions. Go ahead and respond to anything you feel the guys on this table have said today, that you said, this one is what I needed. This is what has resonated with me. This is the reason I'm going to move forward and I'll no longer be stuck. Please share that with me. And for all the people, again, I keep saying, who say I'm not courageous enough to share my story like the guys have, or the mothers who've been coming here have, it's okay. We will speak for you. Okay. What is most important for us is that you get up and you keep moving forward, because you are here for a purpose, and you have to live to fulfill that purpose.
Yeah.
Allow me to say a big thank you to CK Homestyle Interiors, because they put this beautiful tree over here and just gave us that festive feel as we were doing this production. They are located on Getanga Road off James Geshuru. So if you need decorations for Christmas, please pay them a visit. I will put their handle over there as well, and you can do that. I'll also put the gentlemen's handles so you can talk to them if you need to reach out. They have said reach out. Okay, wamesema wenyewe, reach out. So go ahead and do that if you need some sort of help, even if it's just being redirected to the right kind of help. Go ahead and do that. Want to wish you a Merry Christmas, and I'll catch you again possibly after the new year. Okay, so mimi ninawapenda sana sana sana. Thank you for being a part of Being Kambua. See you soon. Bye bye.